I'm Junior Tebow. Today is not a good day for anybody who is a wrestling fan, who is even thought of wrestling from the 80s up to today, because odds are the ones that are watching wrestling today was influenced by the man seen here. Terry Bollea, better known to the people growing up in my era and growing up in the modern era as Hulk Hogan. Sadly, Hulk Hogan passed away this morning as of me recording this on Thursday. Um, Hulk Hogan has been a trailblazer. He basically not only paved the way for modern wrestling today, he paved it, he drilled it, he made sure that people knew that whoever came behind him, they had an easier way of getting things done because of him. Hogan in the WWF in the 80s and early 90s, there was nobody bigger than him. I'm sorry, but there was nobody bigger than him. In terms of gimmick, in terms of wrestling ability, the gimmick always stood out a little bit more than the wrestling ability, but both were okay. But the gimmick was out of sight. I mean, we have never seen anything like Hulk Hogan before. Even when in the early 90s, Hulk Hogan turned heel and became Hollywood Hogan. That put a lot more years on his career, which was already legendary at that time when he decided to turn heel in WCW. But for people like me who invest in celebrities and when they pass away, it's like you lose a piece of yourself with a lot of the people that pass away. Hulk Hogan in the 80s for me was not just a live action cartoon character. He was large in the 80s. When you watched wrestling, you watched it for him because he was the main character or the main person in WWF at that time. He was always the champion. If he wasn't the champion, you wanted him to be the champion. He was a very ecstatic person, a very charismatic person. Probably there will never be another Hulk Hogan. There will never be another Terry Bollea. Now, outside of the ring, he did have a few issues, which I will not go into tonight because we're not talking about that. We're talking about the amazing life of Hulk Hogan, who not only was a trailblazer, he made things so entertaining to the point where he is probably the first person to bring wrestling mainstream in WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania, all the way to modern day WrestleMania today. You could not think of WWF in the 80s and the 90s without thinking Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan deserves to be on the pedestal that he's on, whether you agree with Terry Bollea or Hulk Hogan. If you can't separate the two, that's fine, but don't come here and complain because you can't separate the two. Hulk Hogan deserves his spot in history. He deserves his spot in wrestling history. Not because he's earned it, it's because he's more than earned it. And over the many, many years of having to have many back surgeries, neck surgeries, I know that pain. And going through countless rivals like Macho Man Randy Savage, the Ultimate Warrior, Sergeant Slaughter, in his heyday, Andre the Giant. Who will not ever see that image of Hogan picking up Andre and slamming him over his head? Nobody. Because if you ever watch WWE, if you watch wrestling, period, you have to give this man a form of thanks because he put it out there. And Hulk Hogan is the tagline, the immortal Hulk Hogan, or Hulkamania will live forever. That's not just a slogan, that is a way of life. Put your bitterness to the side if you can't separate the two. Because you got to give Hogan his credit. And Hogan deserves a lot more credit than he's been given. I see a lot of people saying bad things about him, which is okay. I understand because he had that part. But in terms of Hulk Hogan's relevancy, Hollywood Hogan's relevancy, there will be nobody that will ever surpass him. In terms of gimmick, in terms of having the total package. Now, the wrestling ability is a little shaky because I prefer like grapplers like Bret Hart. But Hulk Hogan, if there was no Hulk Hogan, there would be no Bret Hart. There would be no Stone Cold Steve Austins. There would be no Goldbergs. There would be no Ultimate Warriors. There would be no Undertakers. There would not be a Rock. There would not be a John Cena. Anybody from his era to today owes a debt of gratitude to Hulk Hogan for basically putting his body on the line. As fans, he kept us hooked through the 80s and 90s. And, you know, while he would go away and come back, he always had that aura of, you know, this is our childhood. And that's the sad part about when people like him pass away. We invest things in people. We invest, and especially after a week that we've had this week with all these celebrities passing away. That's why some people can't understand why fans get so upset when their celebrity passes away. It's not necessarily the fact that they passed away. It's the fact that you put so much into these people in some small way. When they leave this earth, not only does it rekindle memories that you have, but you lose a little part of yourself also. So the immortal Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea, will never die. His body just passed away. I can separate the good and the bad. If you can't do that, then you are not really a wrestling fan to begin with. And if you say you are a wrestling fan and can't separate the two, then everything that has been done from the 80s on to today, you must not like wrestling to begin with, because he has his thumbprint on everything. Everything. So that's my take on Hulk Hogan. I hope that he found glory. I hope that he's in heaven, which I'm pretty sure he would be. And to the bitterness and the bitter in the comment section, keep it off, because I'm going to delete your comment. Keep it civil. Don't go crazy. And learn, you know, we're all here for a short period of time. Enjoy what you can. And respect people who put their lives on the line to give you, and their bodies on the line to give you entertainment. So God bless Hulk Hogan. I thank him for everything he's done in at least the moments that he's had in my life, which I've been a wrestling fan my whole life. I've been a Hulk Hogan fan my whole life, and I will be a Hulk Hogan fan for the rest of my life, regardless. I'm Junior Tebow, and I approve this video. And God bless Terry Bollea, and Godspeed Hulk Hogan.